Today I'm going to show you how to set up a flow to remove permissions from a user when they go inactive. So here's our test user. Let me know in the comments if you know who this superhero name is. So we have some permission sets for this user, some groups, some licenses, and a couple queues. So this flow will remove everything once they go inactive. So first step is a record triggered flow based off the user object. And we're going off the field is active equals false, meaning they're inactive. I want to do it. This checkbox only run when the record is updated to meet the condition requirements, and then check this box as well to run it asynchronously. And then we're going to push it over to our subflow. So the subflow is called subflow remove user permissions. I'll show you that next. We're passing along the user ID from this flow. So how you get to that is record user ID. And that will pass it to this subflow so it knows what user is going to be working with. So in this user flow, the first thing you need to do is create a variable called user ID. And the key thing is to make it available for input. That way it will show up here as input values, and you can pass what you need to this flow. In this case, we just need the user ID. So I'll walk you through this flow and how everything works. So first step is we get the user. ID is that variable we passed in with the user ID. And then we get the permission set group from the object permission set assignment. And I would copy this API name. We'll use that in a second. So assignee ID, you get the ID from the get user. And then permission set group ID is null equals false, meaning there was something set. And we're pulling all the records. So we use this copied API name. So we just put it in here, click it, and click out. So we're just checking to see if it's any groups have been found. If not, we'll do something else. So if it's yes, we'll delete. We'll just pass in the API name again. And we'll delete them all in one go. If it's no, we'll skip it. And we'll go to permission set assignment. So this is using the same object, permission set assignment. Same thing, the user, permission set ID is null equals false. Something is there, all records. Then we're gonna, if it's yes, we're gonna go into a loop. So using that same API name as before from this one. And as I found building this, there are permission sets that are set to a profile that you cannot remove. So we're going to skip those. We're just going to move the ones that are assigned basically in this list that are visible. So what we have to do is within the loop, we look at the permission set. So the ID is going into permission set ID from the loop. And then the key thing here is owned by profile equals false. So only pull ones that we can delete. And then in this decision, so that we're copying the API name from this one, using it here. If it's null equals false, meaning there is something there that is found that is not assigned to a profile, so we can delete it. If it is assigned to a profile, it will go to yes and go back to the loop and skip the delete. So for the delete, we're going to do permission set assignment, permission set ID equals this variable, and assignee equals within the loop, the assignee ID, and then go into the user ID. And I found I have to switch the permission set to be 15 digits for some odd reason. So there's a simple formula. I'll start this over. So what this is doing is basically from the left, it's counting over 15 characters and just saving those. So within the loop, we're going permission set, then permission set ID. And we're saving that, okay? So we're doing that, and deleting them one at a time, and goes back into the loop, and keeps going until it's all done. One thing to keep in mind of is if you have like hundreds of permission sets, this will certainly fail. So in that case, you'll get the email. What I would do is just go into the user and it's just too much for a flow to handle. So I would just delete them all from here and then make them active, or then deactivating them and have the flow run, because this can't handle hundreds and hundreds of permission sets. So after it gets done with the loop, after the last item, I'll go down to the next one, which is permission set license assignment. And then permission set license ID is null equals false. Something's there, all records. So we're copying this API name again for the decision. Is null equals false, something's there. And if it is, using that same API name, actually no, on this one, permission set license assignment, we're just removing everything that has that user in one go. And then the queue, object is group member, user or group ID is the user. All records, we're using this API name and the decision here. Is null equals false. And then it will clear out all the queues that they are assigned to based on that user. So let's see this in action. Go to our test user. So you can see, oops. Before we turn it off, so we have all these, and all these will go away. It takes about 30 seconds or so, sometimes a little less. Turn this off. And give it a few moments. Okay, so everything's gone. Permission sets, groups, licenses, and queues in one go. So this is very handy. So whenever a user goes inactive, this will trigger. If you have any other ideas on how to expand upon this or anything else that would be handy to do, let me know. For example, like reassigning campaigns or accounts or opportunities, things like that. I can certainly show that if there's interest. Let me know if you have any questions or comments. See you next time.